What'd you see in the secondary? You're a secondary expert.
All right,
little echo.
Little echo? Okay, let's turn that down. Okay, so let's go with Ambry Thomas first, because I know he's kind of the focal point of interest, especially when it comes to me. So did you catch Kyle Shanahan's reaction to Ambry Thomas?
Yeah, very positive.
And I respect that because it's a high ego position. Cornerbacks have to have the shortest memory in the NFL. Maybe quarterbacks as well. You know, you make a bad pass, throw a pick, you have to move on.
When he was doing that for Ambry Thomas, I was thinking like, yeah, man, can't you do this for your quarterbacks too? Like, this is exactly how you should talk about your quarterbacks right there. Like, because I don't believe a word he said about Ambry Thomas personally, and I don't know if maybe he believed half of what he said, but he did. That's what you do. That's leadership. I loved it.
Exactly, and it was leadership, so I was really impressed with that. But onto the skill and the technical parts of Ambry Thomas. I think it was Kyle Posey wrote a really good article breaking down Ambry Thomas, and I agreed with everything he said. But the two things I want to hit on are why the illegal hands to the face, the contact inside of 5 yards occurred. There's a zone that obviously everyone knows. You cannot focus from here up. Basically, don't go for the top of the shoulder pads because just the impact of the receiver, your hands will travel. So he had what I like to call traveling hands. It wasn't that he went straight for the face. It's that he took an up angle. And with his power, and I'm always talking about Ambry Thomas' physical strength in his pectoralis region, I feel like he just got himself into trouble. But I don't necessarily think he played that poorly. I think these are correctable things. So the illegal hands to the face wiped a sack off the board for Nick Bosa. Really frustrating. Erased the interception. Also really frustrating. But there was actually a coverage, I think it was of T. Higgins, where Ambry Thomas was in perfect position. And when Burrows went to look at Higgins, he had to look him off. He had to go to his next read, and that's when Nick Bosa immediately sacked him. So he took one away, but he gave one back. If you erase his 2 penalties, his game looks a whole lot better. The big third down conversion, as Posey pointed out, to T. Higgins, he was in perfect trail coverage. Sometimes you just get a great pass. It's like that pass to George Kittle where he climbed the ladder to go up and get it. Sometimes it's not about bad defense, it's about good offense. And a good offense will beat good defense every single day of the week because it's easier to run than it is to chase. So Ambry Thomas did to me, and his attitude, he didn't seem shell-shocked like he was getting shellacked out there. His numbers don't look good, but his techniques, they're really correctable. Number one thing I would say to him is that he's going to have to learn to be confident in his initial reads. So he will backpedal at the right moments. He will get his head turned around and start going or trading with the receiver, and then he'll try to keep himself honest by looking back. As soon as he looks back, he slows himself down. And when that happens, Joe Burrows and Chase and Higgins, that's a really good pass-happy offense they have there. So this might be the worst situation he's going to see for a couple of games. The Falcons game, he should absolutely feast.
Yeah, I mean,
that's to me.
Anyone against the face. There's no one on Atlanta. They don't have any wide receivers. Someone Gage. Who are their wide receivers? I don't know.
I actually don't know.
Cordell Patterson, their running back.
Right.
Well, let me tell you real quick. My what I saw Ambry Thomas from Cincinnati. Look, I haven't watched the defensive tape, but just being there, I felt that all of Cincinnati's big plays came on his side. And although he only gave up 1 touchdown, the out and up, he was like a blade of grass from giving up a second that got called back to Jamar Chase. And I know Jamar Chase is super duper fast, but compared to him, he looked kind of slow to me. And I know Ambry Thomas ran a 4.3 as well, but Chase has a real 4.3, and Thomas, I just didn't see that. I don't know. I mean, I guess you don't want to write him off because of that. And I understand people being like, hey, like, it's not as bad as it seemed. You know, it was his first start. I'm going to need to see a lot more from Ambry Thomas. I don't know.
Oh, we absolutely have to see more. When it comes to his speed, 4.3 speed as a defensive back, unless you're really good, turns into 4.5 or 4.6. That's the game speed. And the reason for that, you're sitting there, whether you're doing press coverage, zone coverage, whatever, and they know their routes. You might know their routes. You might be guessing at their routes. They might post on you. They might fade on you. They might take an inside, outside, whatever. You're having to react. And every reaction that you make, it slows you down. So that's where Ambry Thomas, like I said, I feel like the mechanics. Here's the thing. If he doesn't clean these mechanics up, he's a bad corner. Or he's not a good student, one of the two. But I think it's so glaringly obvious what he can clean up that I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue if he gets more reps. I
Okay,
have a little confidence in him.
Let me ask you a question. Here's again how I saw it from Cincinnati.
Of course.
D'Amico was putting him in some tough positions. They had him playing way off. A lot of the like way off. And he was giving up some like easy stuff underneath because I think they were so afraid of giving up the big play. It seems to me that now when he did press, he committed 2 penalties, but that's how he wants to play. Is he was press man corner at Michigan, so he wants to. When asked how he sees himself, he said, "Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard." That's how he wants to play. Can he do that? Does he have the athleticism to pull that off? That's my question because I think that's how he's going to have to play, like a not an off corner, a press man corner. I don't know. Is he talented enough to do that?
I will get back to you on the physical specs of people like Ramsey. And let's find out just how much stronger or that he is. But I want to say at first glance, he's absolutely athletic enough to play like them. Skilled enough. I think the raw skills are there, but there's a huge difference between 3rd round raw skill and 1st round ready to go talent. So I think that's where I am on Ambry Thomas. I think that you're going to have games like that. I think you make a really good point. D'Amico Ryans put him in a position that he is not comfortable playing, and if that's where they want him, they should never have drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching from the press box like, whoa, that is quite a cushion, D'Amico. Are you kidding?
Well, what's interesting, did you notice how like on several of the plays, he shows man and then backed into zone? Did you see that?
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, all right, here we go, man. And then I'd be like, oh my gosh, the cushion. Right, the cushion that he was being told to give, I was just like, oh no, because remember what I always say, he gets burned over the top. And see what D'Amico Ryans is trying to do, I feel, is mask his backfield weakness. Because he gets burned deep, because he gets burned on routes that go by him, they were giving him that buffer. But here's the thing with Ambry Thomas. His instinct was still to go slow and not begin his backpedal early enough in that zone coverage. So in other words, he was playing man coverage 10 yards deep. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I think that's a mistake. And I think it's not just on him. I think it's on his backs coach. And I think also on D'Amico Ryans. Good point to make.
The one thing I saw, last thing that I saw from the press box, it seemed like early in the game, the Niners were playing a lot of 2 high safeties. And what the Bengals were trying to do was to run the ball with Joe Mixon. And what the Niners were able to do was stop the run with the front 7, without a safety down there. And that's why Aziz is so valuable right now. I mean, they're doing a really good job against the run without involving their safeties. And as soon as Aziz went down early in the 3rd quarter, the whole offense opened up for Cincinnati. So it seems like they were able to protect Ambry early in the game. And then they weren't later on. So it'll be interesting to see if Aziz, he didn't practice today, what the loss of him could do for the Niners' ability to protect Ambry with Jaquiski Tartt.
Absolutely enormous, because I think, again, Alshire also releases Fred Warner to play his high-speed sideline-to-sideline game. Basically, Fred Warner, I don't think he will get frozen in the middle as much when he has somebody like Aziz there. They are so complementary. So it's not just the loss, it's the tandem.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a couple questions. Jody says there's an article out today and also Good Morning Football saying that 49ers is not someone you want to play in January. Do you disagree?
Healthy 49ers.
Healthy 49ers.
I mean, I don't disagree, but this has been, I think, our argument since preseason. That's basically, can the Niners stay healthy? I mean, healthy 49ers includes Jason Verrett and Raheem Mostert, and it includes Dee Ford. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Elijah Mitchell, you could throw him in there. So they are not, the Niners are victims of their own health. Absolutely.
I think they have a lot more to prove. Every time they win a game, people say this, but then they're 7-6. I mean, they just lost to the Seahawks. So I'd like to see the Niners. Like, I know they had that 3-game winning streak, but I don't know. I mean, they're 2-4 at home. They just don't seem consistent enough. What they do is they beat themselves like pretty frequently, and they can do it against anyone. They could do it this week against Atlanta. So, I mean, they're talented enough. I mean, in any playoff matchup, even though they'll be a wild card team, they're talented enough to stack up. But I don't know. I mean, they lose. Sorry, I almost dropped something. They beat themselves. That's how they lose. So I don't know.
Yeah, the Niners are talented enough to beat anyone. I feel they are talented enough to go to the Super Bowl, but I don't know if they're disciplined enough. And
right.
I mean, you don't know who you're getting today. They can beat the best team in the league, and they can lose to the worst.
That's what I'm saying.
Bipolar team.
Good call. I mean, they've lost to Colt McCoy, once and the Seahawks twice this year. I mean, what?
Yeah, and they absolutely manhandled the Rams. So, and they should have beaten the Packers. So it blows your mind. Those 3 games are great sample sizes. They really are. And this Bengals game, I think, is a great sampler as well, because the Niners did not do enough. I mean, they did enough to win, but the Bengals did a lot more to lose.
Moonman says, "Yo, Grant,
game, the Bengals game, because I don't take a lot of positive from it."
You think we need to see more of the deep ball going into the playoffs because good teams make big plays? Jimmy Jitters is trying, though. You saw what happened. He tried to throw the deep ball to Travis Benjamin. He couldn't throw the ball far enough. He just couldn't throw the ball far enough.
Yeah, because Benjamin basically had to stop like a post out there and wait for it to come to him, and suddenly he was playing center field. And they looked
that
like
ball needed to go like
together.
60, 65 yards in the air, and he just couldn't. He took 3 hitches and threw it as far as he could, and he just couldn't get it there. Sorry.
Also, the thing about the deep ball as well is Jimmy's not good at it. So no, I don't think we need to. Again, it's the run game with a very short range West Coast style of offense. That's the only way for them to win.
Yeah. Jody says, "Hey, thanks, Jody. I'm on a play Trey Lance now bandwagon." Yeah, me too. Wait. With that said, do you both honestly think we would be going to the playoffs this year if we had started him? If we get past Arizona, we see Tampa. Does he beat Brady?
Great question.
Great question. You can't
Very
expect
deep question.
Can't expect him to beat Brady.
You know, this is kind of like again, I'm an Oakland A's fan, and we are a team that is rigged for the regular season, because in a series, over the course of several series, based on how the starters rotate, in this case, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, we can win. But then when we get to our Justin Verlanders and Mad Max and things like that, in other words, Tom Brady, we don't. We get hosed as a playoff team. So the question is, I think Brady would beat Lance. I absolutely do. I think the stage would be too big for Trey Lance. So it would be about winning in the regular season. Jimmy Garoppolo, he has a really thick skin. That's the best thing about him. And it's a hell of a Band-Aid. But then Trey Lance, they say ignorance is a bliss. So who knows? Maybe he goes in there and has a little bit of blissful ignorance and doesn't see Tom Brady as a god of football.
Look, I understand Niner fans are really excited about the playoffs this year because it's like only 4 playoff seasons since 2003. And there's a kind of a, make the playoffs and see what happens feeling around here. And that's wonderful. That's what fans should think. But I just feel like the Niners are not currently in a Super Bowl window right now. I think it closed when they lost the Super Bowl. They don't think so. And I think that once they traded for Trey Lance, they opened up another one. And it wasn't going to be his first year starting, although there have been few. It was going to be the second or the third. And they're just delaying that. That's why I keep whining and complaining about this, because I feel like they're just, okay, great. Playoff run feels great. And, even if it's a wild card run, it feels great as a fan. But what are you setting yourself up for this year, next year? I don't see it.
That's why I have been harping on the fact that we should play our rookies, and that's why I really love seeing Ambry Thomas out there, because again, I mean, if we get to the playoffs this year, yeah, we could go to the Super Bowl. It's true. We're better on the road, I really feel like just being at home does not help us. But again, I think our Super Bowl window is 2 years from now. I don't even think it's next year. I think next year is getting the squad together, getting the cohesion, getting Trey Lance the reps, I hope. Let's hope. And then moving on to the third year. That's really where I am with that.
What do the Niners or Cowboys have to do to face off? I don't think the Niners are going to – they're probably not going to get the 5th seed. They most likely have to hope the Cowboys leapfrog their way up. So I don't know. It's a tough one.